but you learn so much about yourself in the meantime, and also learn so much about how different culture can be. And then you find like little bits of yourself and little bits of other people everywhere, and I think that's super nice.
Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to talk about being an international student here at JU and what life can be here. So today I have these two with me. Hi, what's your name?
Gina?
And
Hey,
your name?
I'm Isaias.
Nice to meet you and thank you for being here. So before we move on to your life here, I would like to know what program you're studying or used to study. So Gina, what did you study before?
So I used to study marketing management. So I used to be a bachelor in GIPS for 3 years, and I just graduated this spring.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you.
And Isaias, what did you study or studying?
I'm currently studying the master's in global management, but I also did my bachelor here in international management.
So you've been here for a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an old folk here.
Yeah, same. So why did you choose this program?
Well, I had friends that studied the program for my bachelor. They were really recommending it, and then I also wanted to work with a global environment, so it was like a fitting like a ring.
Yeah, and you, Gina, why did you choose?
I know that I always want to pursue something in business, and marketing seems like something I can be creative and still like learn the most important thing on how to be a business person in the business world.
Yeah,
So it was like a suitable program.
makes sense. So to the next question, where are you from, Gina?
So I'm from Vietnam, Southeast Asia. So that's like half across the globe away.
Yeah.
Far away.
And you, Isaias, where are you from?
I'm from a city that is always very funny to challenge Swedes to say it. It's called Cochabamba. It's in Bolivia. Yeah, they can never do it, but I cannot
won't
say
even
Vejo,
try.
so it's fine. But yeah, I'm from Bolivia, so middle South America.
Nice. So it's actually kind of nice that neither of you are from Europe.
Yeah.
You've traveled very far and stayed here for a long time. But what made you decide at JU, Isaias?
Well, it was very similar to why I started my master's. There's one Bolivian guy, or not real Bolivian, that he was actually studying here, and I had the luck to randomly meet him. And as things are back home, I met him in the streets, and then he invited me to his place to eat barbecue.
Well,
And then he told me all about JU. So I learned about it, and then I was like, yeah, I want to join. What are you studying? This, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. See, it sounds great for me, so
Yeah.
I'll try it out.
So would you say, did you come here for the specific program or based what your friend said that it's good?
Yeah, no, like the program, it had a perfect balance between economics and marketing and still managing. So it was like a bit of everything in the business world. So I was like very focused on that program.
Yeah, I really feel like we're here in Sweden, we like our broad programs.
Yeah.
But
It's very
Eugenia,
nice.
what made you decide to study here at JU?
So I know that I always wanted to study abroad, and I was looking at different options, and my family members sent me this website to JU, and they were like, oh, this is really nice, like the location wise and everything. And then when I checked like the timeline and everything, it fit perfectly when I graduate, when I can submit my application, and I'm very fortunate to get like the scholarship as well.
That's
So
nice.
like it fit the picture, so
Yeah.
here I am. Yeah.
That's nice. Have you been in Sweden before?
I have visited Sweden when I was like 14, 15 with my family, but I never been into Jönköping in specific. Not
Yeah.
really like the first thing I like, oh, I'm going to Sweden to go to Jönköping.
Let's go to Jönköping.
Yeah.
No. But that's nice. And you, says, had you been here before?
No, well, I arrived 2 days before the classes started, and I just
Wow.
was like, yeah, first time in Europe, let's just see how it goes.
Yeah. So I guess you kind of already answered this question, but how did you find information about JU? Was it only from your friend or?
Yeah, it was mainly from my friend, and then I looked a bit in JU's website and tried to find out, like, all right, what do you offer, and try to see what program would be good for me.
Yeah. And you?
Similar situation, just family member.
Yeah.
And then also looking more in JU website.
Yeah. And I guess you were happy with whatever you found.
Yeah.
But that's good. But what expectations did you have coming here to JU
Ooh,
or Sweden?
Yeah, oh, well, I was expecting it to be very different. I expected it to be very cold. It didn't let me down in either of the fronts. But yeah, I expected to study a lot and just be focused on my studies. And even though it was a lot of studying, it was also a lot of fun. That although I didn't expect it, I was very happy that it was there.
That's nice. So would you say that we have managed to live up to your expectations?
If not just reach them, also exceed them.
Yeah, at least the cold part.
Yeah. The cold.
100%.
That's always there.
But you, Gina, what expectations did you have?
My expectation was I was really hoping that I'm gonna get challenged. I feel like when I decided to study abroad, I know that I want to grow as a person, and I feel like being here in Sweden and then being exposed to so many different culture in Jönköping University alone, and also in Sweden in general, it really helped me to become more mature.
Yeah.
I'm still very a baby, but like I'm trying to be
Same.
more mature. Yeah.
But would you say that we lived up to your expectations then? Have you been challenged?
It's definitely live up to my expectation. The
Nice.
code, the coffee, everything.
Yeah, the coffee is the best.
Yeah,
here.
the best thing.
But then I would say that it was a positive surprise coming here,
It definitely is.
except the cold parts,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I get a chance to buy more clothes.
Yeah,
So-
that's true. That's true. But maybe that won't be so useful when you go back home.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, but would you say, Isaias, that there have been any different culture perspectives here? Though?
Yeah, that's something that is always fun to see. Just where people stand on the bus stop.
Yeah.
People, even though it's like freezing cold, they don't go like penguins very close to each other. They still stay 2 meters apart from each other. COVID rules or not COVID rules, it's Swedish rules.
Yeah, it's Swedish rules. That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like there's typical Swedish picture, like this is Sweden and it's a bus stop with people just, yeah, it's funny. But you, Gina?
I feel like Isaias made like a really good example because my culture is definitely more of a collective type of culture where people really live like a community base and everything is a little bit nosy into each other's life.
Yeah.
Like I know my neighbor, cousin, second wife or something like that. But here you definitely prioritize your individual time. You really prioritize being by yourself and having your own personal space, which is a big difference.
Yeah, just the distance when talking to someone.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can really see, like, my father's from Serbia, and, like, when you greet on someone, you kiss, or, I don't know, just polite.
Yeah.
More polite somehow. Like, you say hello to strangers or whatever, but you don't do that here. Like, you say hello if you really know someone. But that's nice. But have you seen any differences in the actual program, like how you study or anything it says?
Yeah, back home, it's, even though it's university level and you're supposed to be like almost a professional, they still babysit you. You have classes every day and you give your homework every day. So you leave of studies. There's no work-life balance or anything. Here, you are your own boss and you get given the opportunity to decide point for yourself. So that's something very different.
Do you agree, Gina, or anything
I would
else?
definitely say so. Like you definitely can rely more in some sense or another that everything else is kind of taken care of for you, at least the first step. But here you definitely become more self-sufficient and you really have to take initiative of what you want to study and how far you want to go with study. So it really forces you to be more mature in that sense. Yeah.
But would you say, Isaias, it was easier or really hard to like adapt to that type of studying?
I think for me it wasn't as much of a challenge as it could have been. I usually was the weird guy that studied last minute, so I was like, okay, now we have to study a bit more, but it was still at my own pace. So I was putting my own challenges for me. So that was like, you did this to yourself if it ended up being like 3 a.m. finishing an assignment.
Been there, done that. You, Gina, what do you think?
I don't think it was difficult in that sense. I think it was really fun. And I think that being able to just like decide on yourself, you feel like you are the one responsible with your own life, which is a nice feeling to have.
Yeah, I really enjoy that as well. I know when I went from high school directly here, I was so scared, like it's going to be so hard because the teachers told us that it will be so hard. No one will help you. You're on your own. And I feel like it's easier at the university than the high school because they pushed you so hard to be prepared. So it's actually kind of funny.
It is.
But Isaias, are you planning on using your exchange program or did you use during your bachelor's?
Yeah, well, in my bachelor, I was supposed to go to China, but COVID, you know, and China was like the hotspot, so it was like a double X. So I'm hoping that now next autumn, I'm going to be able to go on exchange. So I've looked at the partners and it's coming down to a few schools. Like staying in Europe, it's Erasmus, so it's quite fun, but going abroad, it's like figuring out something entirely new. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, where are you planning to go, or do you have?
Like I have a lot of friends in a few schools that we're actually partners with. So they're pushing to go St. Gallen in Switzerland or Texas A&M.
That's
So
nice.
we'll see.
Hope you will go somewhere this time. And you, Tina, did you go anywhere?
My education was also taken during COVID time, and I did sign up to go to the Netherlands, and I was very lucky to get in. But back then, like the restriction in Netherlands was even worse than here. And then I have few friends there, and they told me it's impossible to do anything at all. And here in Sweden, we kind of have a lot of in the environment to do something still. So I decided to stay instead.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I think I'm really thankful that I was in Sweden during that time. But why do you think that someone should be studying abroad, Isaias?
Oh, I've met so many students that come here just for a semester or sometimes even for a year. And I ask them this, why Sweden? Why Jönköping? Like you have so many opportunities when you go abroad and you don't really know. Like when I tell my people I study here, they say Jönköping. And that's like the common say. Like that's what I said until I realized I was wrong. And then they always say like, I wanted international experience. I wanted to come here, and I saw you guys having fun in those weird colorful pants with weird things in them, and I wanted to go and see what it was in Sweden, because as already just the location and what you can do around here, it's already great in being in Europe. Like we have students that come here and they do their exchange here, but they end up doing all the countries in Europe during those 6 months. So it's like a great opportunity to just do that and do whatever you feel that it's good for you.
Do you agree, Gina?
For sure. I think in general, it's like being able to expose to a new environment. It really put you in the spot where you kind of question your own identity, but you learn so much about yourself in the meantime, and also learn so much about how different culture can be. And then you find like little bits of yourself and little bits of other people everywhere, and I think that's super nice.
Yeah, after a while you realize that Swedish people are not that rude.
No.
Once you get to know them.
Once you get to know them.
Yeah, but were there any challenges moving to a new country?
I would say for me, I moved when I was like directly out of high school when I was 18, and back home I got a lot of help from my parents, and I feel like I was very fortunate to not have to be concerned about minor details. But once you start living alone, like pressing the right button to start like the dishwasher or like even just washing your clothes, it was impossible. I calling my mom at like 11 p.m. here, like how do you actually turn this on and off? So being more mature and being more independent in that sense was difficult.
Yeah.
But it was, it's part of life.
Yeah, it is, I guess. You, Isaias?
Yeah, no, like apart from all the documents and personal number, bank, and all the things you need to do, I have to agree with her. I remember like after my first semester, since I live with just international students, I was like, the first night that everyone arrived, I would show them how to use the washing machine, how to take out the trash, different assortments, so people would know, because people don't have washing machines in other countries. They don't. Sometimes they wash their clothes by hand, so it's like trying to show them like how things are here. And a dryer, that's
that's something else.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for the future students?
To just challenge yourself. There's a lot of things that you can do here that with school or without school that you can do to challenge yourself. You can, if you have kind of idea, there's a lot of teachers or programs that help you develop it, and just try and do what you want to do.
Do you have anything to add, Gina?
Definitely, like, don't overthink it. Because especially in JU, we are really having a lot of different opportunities. We have so much to join. And study-wise or social life-wise, honestly, like Nike say it, like just do it. And then we will see where it goes.
That's true. But you kind of started on the next questions. Have you been a part or are a part right now of any other activities or involvement?
I used to be part of IEC, which is Integration Activity Committee of the Student Union, and now I'm working with the Student Union. So I really enjoy my time being here and being so active with different associations. So that's where I am right now. I really like it.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you, Isaias, have you done anything?
I've been involved since I started. But yeah, I have most of my years been part of USA. That's our sports committee, and where we offer whatever sport you want, basically, as long as we can have it. And now I'm just a coach. I'm a basketball coach currently, but I've been also part of the business student association that has like 20 projects underneath, so it's like way too much. But I've been quite involved, and there's always opportunities no matter where you come or what you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. But what would you say is your favorite thing to do when you're not studying?
This is so stereotypical, but having a fika, like
Yeah.
you know those things when you saw on like Instagram, like oh having a fika in Sweden, and it's like people just like messing it up.
Yeah.
But when you actually sit down and just enjoy like a good kind of blueberry with your friends, and just have a good coffee and the weather is being really amazing,
Yeah.
like today, is really nice and relaxing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Isaias, do you have anything?
Ooh, just randomly joining the different associations we have. I remember I did this so much last year. It was like, I'll just see what's happening in school this day. And no matter who was there, what was there, I would just drop by and be like, okay, what is this? And then just find it out and figuring something new.
But what would you say if you have to choose one thing that you have to do when you come to Sweden? What would you say that would be?
Open strumming inside. I want to see what happens.
But have you done that?
No. They told me don't kick me out.
Kind of funny that you suggest that. Eugenia, what would you say?
I feel like such an Instagram influencer right now, but literally taking a walk in the nature
Yeah.
is so nice. And I feel like not in just in Jönköping or wherever you are in Sweden, you have so much open space to just enjoy the nature. And that's definitely something that I feel like not a lot of people have that privilege in other countries. So that's a must do for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. So thank you both for coming today and answering all my questions. And this has been season 2 of Point of View, and we'll be back this spring with more episodes. But keep on following us on YouTube and social medias to find more information. See you next semester.